Well, well. Um, no one saw this coming. I'll tell you that now. Not even me. And it's been hard for. I think we've had numerous times, and we've had numerous times throughout covering all of Brexit, right from the very start, right to even now, where essentially the Brexiteers are completely and utterly refusing to take any form of responsibility for the mess they have made. And it doesn't just include where are we? The past 8 months of Brexit. This has been since 2016. This goes all the way back, right back to 2016. I have said, I don't know how many times to people, look at what is going on with Brexit continuously, again and again and again, no matter what seems to happen. The Brexiteers just can't seem to get the hint. It's their fault. And now, as you can see from the screen, we are having a top level Brexiteer. A top level Brexiteer of all people come forward and say Brexit is a fiasco. And not just someone who was like any member of the ERG who maybe just stood back and watched all this happen or happened to just egg it all on. No, this is Steve Bray, someone who was directly involved in making the policy of this absolute fiasco, as he now calls it. So I wonder now how many other Brexiteers after this are going to start breaking out of the mold and start saying, Brexit wasn't as good, or it's not as well as we would have liked it to have gone. It's unbelievable that this is where we are now. But this is where we are. Brexiteers are calling their own project, their own sanctified project, something which they bleated on since even like someone like Steve Bray, even before 2016, saying how wonderful Brexit was. And then under Theresa May, him being a core member of the ERG, literally got the hardest possible Brexit done. Something they would have never thought even compromisable in their entire wildest fantasies was given to them. Because they basically, well and truly, took control over 100% of the Tory party and made it theirs. It is their fault. And if they don't like their consequences, well, then maybe they should go back and think about the actions that they did, which led them to our state at the moment. Because I'm sure some of you will have seen at the moment, recently, that there was a very interesting poll done that came out that Brits, of all people, think that referendums are the least likeliest way to solve Brexit to solve political problems. I cannot believe this. I genuinely cannot believe this. I genuinely can't. It's absolutely unbelievable, but that's where we are. That is exactly where we are, and it's absolutely terrifying that these people are in charge. But hey, let's find out what happened, because this happened today. So, Steve Baker has ruffled a few feathers after he branded Brexit a fiasco and indicated that politicians such as Sir Keir Starmer could be to blame for it. Keir Starmer has nothing to do with how bad Brexit's going. He's had absolutely no fingers in the Brexit pie. It has been the government, and particularly like people like Steve Bray, who have been at the heart of Brexit. And yet, this is where we are now. I genuinely cannot believe this is where we've got to on this, but whew, so yeah, this is one of those things where how much of an impact is going to have on how much of an impact is this going to have on the voting public? I think it's going to be really, really hard to say that this is going to have an impact. Maybe this becomes a new issue on this. Who knows? Like I say, it could be very, very interesting. Could be very, very interesting. Hold on, I'm just there we go, just doing a bit more promotion for this. There we go. Because this is a bit impromptu. I am aware of that. So, what's the response to this going to be? I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know what the response to this is going to be. We'll probably find out tomorrow. What the hardliners, other hardliners, if anyone else joins in. It might even be funny if Nigel Farage, of all people, joins in this and starts going, yeah, Brexit was a fiasco. And you're like, what? This is going to be monumental in all this, but there you go. So anyway, he continues. The self-styled Brexit hardman and former deputy chair of the ERG took to Twitter to bemoan the policy-making elite, seemingly forgetting that he was the Brexit minister from June of 2017 to July of 2018. His fingerprints are all over Brexit. Right at the very start, I said this at all. Brexiteers cannot take any form of responsibility for the actions that they take. But that's where we are. But this is it. This is the ridiculousness of the Brexit scenario that we're in. That the very key policymakers who were involved in initiating and starting Brexit are now saying and potentially starting to turn on the fact that, well, Brexit's not as smart as they think it is. And yes, I can see that. I can see that you are in chat on Twitch. Hello to our little Twitch viewers. Oh, we've only got 2 of you. Most of you are on YouTube. So this is crazy that Steve Bray has come out and said this. This is to set an analogy. This would be like, if there are any Americans watching, this would be like if George Washington had come out like a year after the revolution, after they'd won the American War for Independence, and then they turned around. George Washington would turn around and then say, yeah, guys, the American War for Independence was a mistake. That's the type of political insanity that we would see on this. Generally, the type of absolute insanity that we would see. And I can't believe it. But there we are. Anyway, let's continue on this. You know, this masterful stroke of, again, like I say, he was the Brexit minister for almost a year. So he can't complain that Brexit is a fiasco when he was directly involved with it. Starmer has nothing to do with this. So his comments come as a new post-Brexit master plan was unveiled to try and merge London with Amsterdam in a bid to try and plug the financial trade lost due to Brexit. Earlier this month, the governor of the Bank of England, Andrew Bailey, said he does not expect the EU to open its doors to the UK financial service exports after Brexit. It also emerged today that thousands of EU workers have left hospitality jobs in the past year as the EU workers have abandoned the UK. So it feels like a fiasco, right? Well, Steve Barker seems to agree. He tweeted, Keir Starmer's comments about net zero remind us that he's part of the policy-making elite who have decided to make us poorer and colder. Politicians need to level with the public about the scale of change needed in our lives so we don't have another political fiasco like Brexit. Look, Keir Starmer's comments about achieving net zero are good. It is going to be positively a positive move for the US. It is going, well, not the US, it's going to be a positive move for the UK. It will be a positive move because we need to deal with climate change. And shockingly, Keir Starmer actually has a point about net zero and trying to achieve net zero. That is a good thing, and I hope that he moves forward with it, because it would be incredibly good if Labour start to seriously tackle climate change and start to put policies forward for actually dealing with it. That would be an incredibly positive move for Labour. We'll have to see what happens on that, of course, but I'll tell you what, to begin with, it's a good start. But of course, the Tories don't like climate change because obviously if you deal with climate change, then that means regulation. And of course, big boy Brexiteers like Steve Bray do not like regulation. So, of course, this is his tweet he made. And, of course, very quickly, people started to react to it. So, James O'Brien tweeting, political fiasco made Flesh self-styled Brexit hardman Steve Baker now thinks that Brexit is a political fiasco. I've tried, but I've got nothing. That's completely true. It's absolutely flabbergasting to say that he thinks that. But Sue Perkins, Steve, I bring terrible news. It's your Brexit. It's your fiasco. You were at the epicenter of the policy-making elite who pushed it through without scrutiny in the harshest terms possible. As for poorer and colder, you have consistently voted against welfare increases. And that is absolutely completely true. So how further this goes on into this absolutely mindless rabbit hole that he's created for this. And like I say, whether this comments will come back to bite him on this will be very interesting, because it's going to be seeing now how, should we say, the Brexit supporting public react to this. Because there's another very interesting parallel about this, of course, as well. Because remember, in Switzerland, their Supreme Court back in 2016 overturned the results of a referendum because they said that the public had been misled and lied to. So why not try that ourselves? I mean, it would, well, put it this way, the Brexiteers would absolutely have a heart attack if we did that. And of course, the right-wing press in this country would have an absolute field day. And you are right. They think it's a fiasco because, again, it wasn't hard enough for them. But here's the thing, they've got almost everything they want. This Brexit was brought about because of people like Steve Bray taking over and punishing Theresa May and literally throwing a hard right coup, which put Boris Johnson in power. And then they pushed through the hardest possible terms of Brexit, which was something that they said at the Leave campaign referendum, they said they would never, ever do. Remember, only a fool would leave the single market. But there you go. So, Andrew Adonis, another political fiasco like Brexit, says one of its authors. Exactly true. David Schneider, Dominic Cummings, anyone who's sure Brexit is a good idea has got a screw loose. Steve Barker, Brexit is a fiasco. These guys must be furious at the people who were behind the Leave campaign. Oh, that's right. They were the ones behind the Leave campaign. Someone else here. Politico fiascos like Brexit set the irony level to 11. Someone else responding to him. Steve Baker, who unironically calls himself the Brexit hardman, seems to have gone entirely flaccid, as the results of Brexit he campaigned for have come home to bite, calling it a politico fiasco. It would be funny if it weren't so staggeringly sad. This is absolutely insane, but that's where we are. That is where we are, and it's I can't believe we are at the level where Brexiteers are now going, Brexit has not gone the way we wanted. It's not gone the way of our fantasies have said that it would. So we're now going to turn around and try desperately to try and overturn it. Or even say, oh, if only Brexit would have only have gone right if only they had listened to us more. If only they'd listened to the more Brexit purists. Well, here's the thing. The Brexit purists are the one in charge. But that's where you go. So here's the comment. According to polls, most British people approve of Brexit currently. Depending on what polls you read, of course. Like I say, there are many polls of people who say they regret their decision. Many people who said they would vote differently now knowing the information, now knowing that they have. And I have said a lot of times that this is going to be another Iraq war situation. Prior to the Iraq war, the public was vastly in favor of the Iraq war. Vastly. You couldn't find and go out into the streets, again, according to the polls, and literally not find someone who was in favor of the Iraq war. What's now going to happen, of course, is that as we start to see the consequences, as these chickens start to come home to roost, people will start to turn around. So all these people who say they support Brexit will soon start to turn around and say, me support Brexit? I never supported that. It was just like what happened to the Iraq war. After the Iraq war, after the fiasco that it was, even though all the opinion polls back then said you could have gone out into the street and instantly found someone who supported the Iraq war, you cannot find a single person who supported the Iraq war, even though, according to all the polls, that's what the situation should be. I think the exact same is going to happen to Brexit. The exact same. And like I say, Brexit's not over. It's not done. It never will be. It's going to be a constant renegotiation, acclamation, blame, settle. That is it 100% down to a T. That is exactly what is going to happen. But yeah, that's another thing. You'll see this quite well. The Tories in our country are currently losing the culture war. They lost out because they decided to take on the England football team, which turned out very wrong against them. They recently decided to take on the Royal Lifeboat Initiative, which, guess what, didn't turn out very well for them. They are now, all of a sudden, even though they have consistently, people like Steve Bray have consistently voted for austerity and cuts to universal credit, which is our benefit system here in the UK, that they now all of a sudden care about food poverty. But here we are. Okay, you've just shown how much you don't actually know about Brexit, or maybe about the UK currently, because we are currently in the cleanest form of Brexit you can possibly take in. But hey, never mind. There's always one brain cell in the chat. So anyway, let's continue. So someone else Last time I checked, you were a member of a very small ERG elite group which dictates the Tory party policy and is swinging to ultra-extreme capitalism. Someone else. Steve, I don't know how quite to break it to you, but you literally entered politics to bring about Brexit. You pushed for it every step of the way for the hardest Brexit possible, despite all the evidence pointing to how damaging that would be. Someone else. RE, comment 1. Don't know if you noticed, but Starmer isn't the Prime Minister. That is true. Keir Starmer is not the Prime Minister. Keir Starmer was not the Prime Minister. He was never involved with anything to do with Brexit whatsoever. You know, his hands are clean of this, despite what some people might like to think. But yeah, his hands are clean in this. 2, you literally did this to us, your party and your European research group. Brexit is a fiasco, a catastrophe brought to us by the Tory party. And I've said before, as Brexit starts to go wrong, it will very much be in favour of the Labour Party to start to push for the Tories to accept responsibility. And the more they abdicate responsibility for Brexit, the worse it will look for them. And what I would say is that Keir Starmer needs to sit down with all those pro-Brexit MPs and go, look, Brexit isn't going the way you wanted it to. It's not going to work. We're going to have to rejoin the European Union. And that's what essentially is going to happen sooner or later. It is not a question of if Britain will rejoin the European Union. It is a question of when. So, reminder, Steve Barker was a minister at the Department for Exiting the EU. He had his hand on the steering wheel. He is the policy-making elite that made it a political fiasco and repeatedly sought to block informing the public. Again, someone else. You've made us infinitely poorer and meaner, Steve. You and your nutty, culty Brexit. Someone else here. Keir Starmer isn't part of the policy-making elite. Have we been in some weird parallel universe where the Tories haven't been in power for over 11 years? Again, absolutely true. And then, of course, the final one. Steve Barker reminds us that he's part of the policy-making elite who decided to make Brexit a political fiasco, a reality. And with that, I rest my case. I absolutely rest my case on this. But that's what happens with this. That is where we've ended up with on this. And I genuinely can't believe it. But of course, this was going to happen sooner or later. And yeah, is that what we're up to now? I mentioned earlier, they tried to take on the lifeboats. Last time I think I looked, they were at 20K. They're now at 66, according to that, for the Flying Farage. I do hope that works out, because that will be fantastic if that does work out. Oh my word. Oh my word. This is the type of thing that you literally sometimes just cannot make up. That you cannot make up, but this is where we are. This is where we are. This is where we've ended up. And I genuinely can't believe it. I am lost for words that we have a chief architect, not only that, a former minister from the Department of Exiting the European Union, who is now saying that Brexit is now a political fiasco. That is what happened. It's wonderful now where the Tories are now desperately trying to, of course, subvert reality, because they've been the ones in power now since what, 2010? So they've been in power since then. They're the ones who brought in austerity. They are the ones who are responsible for Brexit. And although they aren't responsible for COVID, their decisions made COVID worse. And as I keep on saying, we're going to suffer from the ABCs of austerity, Brexit, and COVID. Austerity stripped away to the bare bones our public services, including the NHS, literally to a bare bone. Literally, there is nothing else you can shave off it. But literally in the next autumn budget, Rishi Sunak has said that there is going to be another 7% cut across all departments. Welcome to more austerity. Brexit. The economic case for Brexit was never there. It was never good. It was only going to hurt this country. We've seen what it's like to be out of the European Union. And the reason why we joined the European Union in the first place was because of how bad our economy was going. Because we were suffering from that. And now we're out of it. And when our economy isn't recovering like the rest of Europe, even the rest of the world, remember, at this moment in time, the world is in a trade boom. But English exporters, or should we say UK exporters, are lagging massively behind. Why is that? It's because of Brexit. So that's the B for Brexit. And of course, C for COVID. What COVID did was essentially, to begin with, it was the dream. It was the dream of the Brexiteers. Thank God we can blame all the mess of the start of Brexit on COVID. What a wonderful carpet this makes to, sweep all the mess of Brexit under the rug with. But the problem is, the more you sweep the dirt under the rug, the more bumpy your carpet becomes. And sooner or later, that becomes unavoidable. Absolutely unavoidable. Now, of course, actually, you brought up something very good there, Pretty Bird. I do think this might be a ploy by him to maybe raise his profile. Of course, it's conference season coming up, so for all we know, this could very well be a throwing his hat in the ring, shall we say, to maybe try and get the and get it in, get his shall we say his name over the line. It's very possible. Like I say, I think the next Tory leadership race, when it happens, is going to be incredibly vicious, because I think you're going to have Priti Patel, you're going to have Michael Gove, you're going to have Rishi Sunak, almost definitely, and if you throw someone like Steve Bray into it, that could be Steve Bray. That Steve Bray is not even a member of the Tory party. That's a slip of the tongue. Steve Barker in there. That could be an incredibly vicious field. An incredibly vicious field. But we will have to see what's going to happen on that. Like I say, it's going to be fast, it's going to be furious, and it's going to be incredibly fun to watch. But as always, like I say, thank you for joining me for this very, very impromptu stream. Like I say, it was a very impromptu stream. I saw this and I felt I had to respond to it because this is absolute sheer madness that we are seeing now from like these chief Brexiteers, these arch Brexiteers. It's absolutely sheer madness. So if you do like the video or you are new to the channel, then please do click that like, share, and subscribe button. If you are on YouTube, do the other things. If you are on Twitch as well, I'm sure there are things you can press. And also, there are links below to my Patreon page, or you can buy me a coffee on, well, the Buy Me a Coffee link, which is a one-off donation link. So, like I say, thank you very much for joining me for this very, very quick stream. But thank you for watching. And we'll see you all next time for more videos we've got coming out this week. And of course, Saturday morning, as always, on YouTube at the UK time of 8 a.m., we've got the Good Morning Walk. So we'll see you there. And most probably we will be talking about the fallout of this, potentially if there is fallout. So as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time.